Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is June 5th, and our reading is Emotional Vampires. Emotional vampires are people who feed on the fears, anger, resentment, self-pity, and envy of others. Politicians, race baiters, newscasters, and assorted shite stirrers. They get off on inflaming and exacerbating the emotions of their victims. Obsessive compulsive self-destructive behavior can be seen in most major cities and a disturbing number of ostensibly functional organizations. Men and women who lust for power, money, and control don't just become politicians or entertainers these days. A shocking number end up in business or the professions. If they're not careful, they might be back as hungry ghosts, preta. They play a mean game of let's you and him fight, and their fallback positions include I was only trying to help, now I got you, you son of a bitch, and I just thought you should know. We've seen kinder eyes on a cobra. Sucking warmth and energy from others really is vampire-like. And it's amazing how many of our so-called leaders and opinion makers do exactly that. I think H.L. Mencken said if a politician heard that there were cannibals in his constituency, he'd promise the voters fat young missionaries. I think there's a lot to that. Maybe we're responsible primarily for all of the negativity that we suck into the public square. The games mentioned at the end of that have been mentioned before. Transactional analysis. Eric Byrne did a great job on describing the kinds of games that people play. And there's an ostensibly legitimate purpose to the interactions with people, but underneath that there are ulterior motives, and that makes these transactions very twisted indeed. So beware of anyone trying to get you to take on somebody else. Beware of anybody who says, I'm just trying to help you. Beware of anybody that sets unrealistically high goals and then waits with bated breath for you to fail. And be a little bit skeptical if somebody comes, I just thought you should know this. There's usually some kind of dirt coming right behind that. Playing games with people is not what we mean by right action. Be straight. The Gita describes just such creatures from chapter 16, entitled Two Paths, verse 7. The demonic do things they should avoid and avoid things they should do. They have no sense of uprightness, purity, or truth. There is no God, they say. No truth, no spiritual law, no moral order. The basis of life is sex. What else can it be? Holding such distorted views, possessing scant discrimination, they become enemies of the world, causing suffering and destruction. And that's 7, 8, and 9 of chapter 16. Down to verse 12. Bound on all sides by scheming and anxiety, driven by anger and greed, they amass by any means they can a hoard of money for the satisfaction of their cravings. Sorry, there's no evidence that they're French. So happy trails to you until we meet again.